Hello, football fans. King Ikeboo coming to you live from the underground bunker deep beneath Tuktoyaktuk, where once again we are going to start a new series using game-winning drive football, all-time Super Bowl tournament. So I want to first of all give thanks to Dave Gardner for putting this game on his channel. That's how I was introduced to this game, and so I recommend that you check out his channel to see all his game-winning drive games. And also kudos to Al Wilson, who has an excellent educational video, explanation video on his channel. Al Wilson is a legend. He has been in this community, the game simulation, sports simulation world. He's been for a long time, so it's worth checking him out. Al Wilson's channel. But we are going to do something different. We are going to do an all-time Super Bowl series. We have the 106 teams that have been in the Super Bowl. I put them in a file. I got a random file picker software program, and it picked out for 8 groups. It picked out the teams totally randomly and put them into 8 different groups, and that's the groups that we are going to use in this whole project. So I want to introduce to you, first of all, Group A. Group A, and you can say that this group is very much a Dallas Cowboy flavor. We're going to go into chronological order, starting with the 1970 Dallas Cowboys, the 1973 Minnesota Vikings, the 1977 Dallas Cowboys, the 1981 Cincinnati Bengals, the 1985 New England Patriots, the 1987 Denver Broncos, the 1989 Denver Broncos, the 1990 Buffalo Bills, the 1993 Dallas Cowboys, the 1995 Dallas Cowboys, the 1998 Atlanta Falcons, the 2000 New York Giants. And I like to lay the cards on the table. I usually do this and say, this is the team I'm pulling for to get out of this group, but I don't hold much hope as they have Kerry Collins as their quarterback. But this remains the only New York Giants team to lose in the Super Bowl. 4-1. Not many teams can say that. The 2009 Indianapolis Colts. And finally, the final team of this Group A, the 2014 Seattle Seahawks. Now, as I look at this, I see a lot of teams that have lost the Super Bowl. A lot of teams have lost. How many have won? I think Cowboys have won. These 2 Cowboys have won. And other than them, I think this other Cowboy team won. So maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. I get mixed up some of these back here. Seattle. I know they won one year against Denver, and they lost the next year against New England, but I'm not sure which year it was. I think this may be the year they lost to New England, 2014. Maybe we should check that. Let's see what we can find. Okay, 2014. Yes. So they lost. 2009, Indianapolis lost. So yeah, there's only 2 teams in this group, or 3 teams, that have won the Super Bowl. Doesn't mean it's a poor group. There's some great teams in here, but they just happen to be the losing side of all their Super Bowls, except for 3. We are going to play, each one of these teams is going to play each other one time. We're not going to use any home field advantage. Just going to play a 13-game season, and then we'll have a 4-game, top 4 teams will go into the playoffs, and we'll play the playoffs and have a Group A champion, and then we'll move on to Group B, and so on, and so on, and so on. So what team are you hoping for? You can put this in the comments. Which of these teams do you hope and think will be the Group A champions? So there's to remind you who they are. We'll also look at the schedule. Week 1 schedule has, this is a game we've already played. Now this is a story unto itself. I recorded this game between Dallas and Minnesota for the last, I don't know how many years I've been doing videos. I've always had the Z key as the start recording and the X key as the stop recording. And in this game, for the first time, I've had to type how the the outcome, the results. And there's a man on the 1973 Minnesota Vikings, the kicker, named Cox. And when I type Cox, it ends in X, and that cut off the recording. And it was just a most amazing game. Let me show you this game that I recorded earlier between these two teams. It's the first game of this series, Dallas of 1970 and 1973 Minnesota. And you can see here at the half, it was 13-7 Dallas. They went to 20-7 Dallas, 27-7 Dallas. And then Minnesota started coming back. They threw a touchdown pass, Fran Tarkenton to Jim Gilliam, made it 24-17. That was the score at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Then Gilliam ran for a touchdown, his second touchdown of the game, which is pretty amazing for a wide receiver, to make it 27-21. On the ensuing kickoff, Dallas ran it back for a touchdown and make it back to a two-score game, 34-21. They only had 2 possessions left, and they got a Billy Brown scored a touchdown run to make it 34-28, and then Dallas threw an interception on their last possession to give Minnesota great field position, and they went for it on fourth down, and they scored a touchdown and won the game 35-34. And I thought, oh, this is great. I have this all in recording. People will enjoy this game. And I hit right back here when I said missed field goal Cox. That's when the recording audio stopped, or the actual recording itself stopped. And so all this is lost forever, this great, incredible game. But hopefully today's game will be just as good. That's a lot to ask, though, as today's game will be between the 1990 Buffalo Bills and the 1989 Denver Broncos. Let me introduce to you, first of all, the visiting team, the 1990 Denver Broncos, the quarterbacks. And we won't introduce every player on the team. The players we'll introduce are players that were involved in the scoring during the season. Either they threw an interception, they returned an interception for a touchdown, they kicked a field goal, they received a touchdown, they threw for a touchdown, they ran for a touchdown. Somewhere in the scoring, those are the ones that we will introduce to you today. Of course, the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills of 1990 is Jim Kelly, number 12. And this doesn't mean that he threw 86 touchdown passes and threw for 82 interceptions. That would be pretty amazing stats. No, we'll tell you what these stats mean later. Backup quarterback is number 14, Frank Reich. And the third quarterback, Gail Gilbert, number 7. Now to the running backs. Once again, not all these are running backs perhaps, but these are people who ran for a touchdown in 1990. Of course, there's the legendary Thurman Thomas, number 34. Kenneth Davis, number 23. Jamie Mueller, number 41. Don Smith, number 30. And Larry Kinnebrew, number 28. Those are the running backs. Here are the receivers. Andre Reed. Did I just go through this team? I mean, I don't know. It was just an amazing football club. Amazing from top to bottom. I don't know how they did not win a Super Bowl. I mean, these Thurman Thomas, one of the greatest receivers of all, or running backs of all time. And then they had these receivers. Andre Reed, number 83. Keith McKellar, number 84. James Lofton, number 80. Butch Roll, number 87. Thurman Thomas caught a touchdown pass, number 34. Steve Tasker, number 89. Kenneth Davis, number 23. Jamie Mueller, 41. Don Beebe, 82. And Pete Metzelar, number 88. Great receiving core. The kicker, of course, the infamous Scott Norwood, number 11. And the men on defense who had interceptions for a touchdown, Darryl Talley, number 56. and Leonard Smith, number 46. And one man returned a fumble for a touchdown. That was Nate Odoms. So that is the 1990 Buffalo Bills. Get back to the Jim Kelly. Now the home team, the 1989 Denver Broncos. Quarterback, number 7, John Elway. Backup quarterback, number 8, Gary Kubiak. And also throwing a pass for a touchdown in 1989, Bobby Humphrey. Now the running backs, once again, Bobby Humphrey, number 26. John Elway ran for a touchdown in 1989. He's number 7, of course. Sammy Winder, number 23. Jeff Alexander, number 40, although he wore 20 in the USFL. I couldn't find any pictures of him for Denver, so he is in the USFL, number 40. Mel Bratton, number 32. Now the receiving core, Vance Johnson, number 82. Mel Bratton, number 32. Steve Sewell, number 30. Of course, he's a running back. Same thing with Bratton, but he caught a touchdown pass, so I just put him for this purposes, I put him under the receiving core. So Steve Sewell, number 30. Mark Jackson, number 80. Mike Young, number 83. Clarence Kay, number 88. Bobby Humphrey, number 26. Ricky Nattiel, number 84. The kicker is David Treadwell, number 9. Returning a interception for a touchdown, Tyrone Braxton, number 34. And Randy Robbins, number 48. Returning fumbles for touchdowns, Carl Mecklenburg, number 77. And Greg Cragen, number 71. So those are the 1989 Denver Broncos. Oop, I always do that. I go too far. I have to reset. All right. So, like I said, we're playing game-winning drive football. And this is the playing field for this. And now I have to explain everything again. Although you can do yourself a great favor by going to Al Wilson's video. He talks about it in great length, this game, as well as Dave Gardner has several videos, so I encourage you to check those out. In case you haven't seen those videos, this is how this game works. I love this game because it's quick and it's fast, and it doesn't take long to. I gotta make sure it's still recording. Good, it is. It's fast. Instead of play-by-play, bogged down, takes forever, over an hour, this game is fast once you stop talking and start playing. But let's look at the Buffalo Bills of 1990. It's just an outcome of, it's every possession. One roll per possession. If you roll 11 to 33, you score. And if you roll 34 to 66, you turn the ball over. It doesn't mean it's necessarily a turnover, but the other team gets the ball, whether it's by fumble, punt, interception, or missed field goal. However, because of the Denver Broncos defense, it is adjusted. So Denver had a very good defense in 1989. So it is adjusted -3. So it was 33, you go 3 down, 32, 31, 26. That's why it's 11 to 26 for a score, roll, and 31 to 66 for a turnover. If you get a score roll, then you have the second roll, which is out here. The second roll is outcome. That determines what type of score it is. Normally for the Buffalo Bills, a TD run is 11 to 25. However, Denver knocks that down because of their defense to 11-24. That has less touchdown runs and more field goals. If you're defense and you roll a scoring roll, you hope that they kick a field goal instead of get a touchdown. That's football basics 101, and that's what they do here. And then the TD pass, they knock it down 3. So instead of, they're an offensive juggernaut, 35 to 61, but they knock it down 3 to 54, 61, 56, 55, 54, 54. So 36 to 54 is a touchdown pass. 55 to 66 is a field goal. Same thing here. If you get a turnover roll, you have the outcome dice roll, and that determines what type of turnover. 11 to 14 normally is a fumble, but Denver and their great defense, they increase the fumble chances to 21. So more fumbles. They forced a lot of fumbles in 1989. So that means fewer punts, and interceptions stay the same, 35 to 43, punts 44 to 63, and missed field goals 64 to 66. The 1990 Buffalo Bills did not have any punt returns for touchdowns or kick returns for touchdowns. However, interceptions, they have 11 to 14 roll for an interception return for a touchdown. And here's one unique rule in this game, and I'll go to that section. It's somewhere over here. In the fourth quarter, you can go for it on fourth down, but there's certain conditions. It has to be only in the fourth quarter. Your team must be, we use the 2-point conversions for everybody in this tournament. So 8 points or less. You have to be trailing by 8 points or less. Of course, it doesn't make much sense if you're trailing by 3 to do this, but you can do it if... So if you're down 4 to 8, you can go for it on fourth down. And your original possession roll resulted in a field goal. That's what happened here. In this, when it was in the last drive of the game for Minnesota, it was 34-28. And they rolled a score and they got a field goal. And so I declared, what good does a field goal do? It just makes it 34-31. So they went for it on the last possession of the game. And they had to roll 11 to 23, and they got it, and they got the game-winning touchdown by Ed Marinaro, and that's how that one ended. Very exciting. And that's the rule that we play in this game here. So that's what this statistic means. So Denver's fourth down defense is -5. So for this roll, you go 26 -5, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. That's why the roll is 21. So if they go for it in the fourth quarter for a touchdown, they have to roll 11 to 21 to get a touchdown. If it's 22 or higher, it is a turn the ball over on downs. Buffalo also had a fumble returns for a touchdown, and their point after kick chance is 11 to 64, so they can miss an extra point. And I won't go over it as quickly, or I'll go over it more quickly for Denver, because you should understand it. Hopefully you understand it by now. The defense of the 1990 Buffalo Bills was not as good as the 89 Broncos, so they only adjusted down -1, so from 32 to 31. So the scoring rating for the whole game for Buffalo is 11 to 26. For Denver, they have the advantage. Theirs is 11 to 31. They also don't knock down the TD runs, and they only knock down the TD pass 1. Fumble, they get more fumbles than normal, so they increase the amount of fumbles, and interceptions are not affected. The same as Buffalo, the 1989 Broncos did not return any punts or kickoffs for touchdowns. They did return interceptions for touchdown. Their fourth down number, Buffalo really buckles down on fourth down, -6. So it takes it from 31 to 21. They did score touchdowns on fumble recovery, and their point after is 1166. The brackets just mean that if you roll a 66, you roll again, and if it's over 14, the point after is no good. So in this case, if this was 66, the second roll was 12, it would be good. So that means they missed probably 1 point after the whole season. All right, so that is the explanation. And now let's get this game underway. So the home team always starts first. Denver has the ball. We don't have to worry about kickoffs for any team. They both don't have any touchdowns on kickoff, so we can just go immediately to the outcome of the drive. So, like I said, Denver has the ball, and here's the dice rolls down here, and here is the first roll. We have to roll 11 to 31 for a score, and they roll a 54. 54 is higher than 31, so I should change this. I have to change this. It's 32. didn't change that. I am sorry. I did it over here. Yep. So this is why we went to school, folks. So we could learn that well, it was 65. Over 65 is higher than 32. They don't say that, who said that math was useless? It pays off in games like this. And so it was a turnover. And we'll just take this roll here. 25 falls into the punt. So 21 to 35, that falls in between. So it was a punt. The first possession of the game was a punt by Denver. And I'm just paranoid. I'm just making sure it's still recording. Sorry about that. Just I've been burned too many times lately. All right. And I've been doing videos, but something goes wrong all the time. I don't know what it is. Okay, so now Buffalo has the ball on a punt. You take the ratings here, 11 to 26. So here is the roll for Buffalo. 46. So they turn the ball over. 25. It is also a punt. So these two offensive juggernauts start off slowly. It's still scoreless in the first quarter. It goes back to Denver. Denver's 11 to 31. Here is the roll. 65. And 21 is another punt. So it's still scoreless. What kind of football is this? We didn't expect this so far. Now Buffalo has the ball, and they're going to roll to see what happens in their possession. Is a 51. That is also a turnover. It's higher than 31, lower than 66. And the outcome is 26. Another punt. Boy, oh boy. Here's two defensive teams. You look at the other one. Keep referring to this game, but I'll refer to this game till I die, I think. It's so great. They have much lower, 24 and 25, and yet they scored a total of 69 points in their game. And here it's scoreless in this game between two powerhouses, offensive powerhouses. So now it's time for Denver to have their final roll of the first quarter. And here is that roll is 52, another turnover, 11. So this one is a fumble. So they fumble the ball. Now, if you remember, we have to check now the fumble return. The return is 64, so there's no touchdown on the fumble return, but there is a fumble. So see, this is what I mean when you have to type the results here. So 0-0. So after the end of the first quarter, the score is 0-0. And so now Buffalo has the ball to begin the second quarter. However, if this makes sense, if you think about it, if it's a fumble, interception, or missed field goal, the field position is better than if you punt. So how the game reflects that is 11 to 36. You add 10 to the dice roll for this possession only. 11 to 36 is a scoring roll. So Buffalo has a marvelous scoring opportunity now. Let's see what they do with it. They score for the first score of the game, and the outcome roll is 45. That is a touchdown pass. So now we go to the Buffalo Bills, and first of all, we have to determine who threw the touchdown pass. So we roll the two 10-sided die. That's where these numbers come in. So it's 19. So anything from 01 to 86 is Jim Kelly. If it would have been 87 to 93, it would have been Frank Reich. And 94 to 100 would be Gail Gilbert. But here's where math comes in handy again. 19 is in between this roll. So the touchdown pass was thrown by Jim Kelly. Now we see who caught the pass. So we go to the wide receiver section, starting right here. And we roll this. And it's 32. So 32 is higher than 29, so it's not Andre Reed. It is Keith McKellar. So now we have to roll the point after. We look at this here. The point after is 62, so the point after is good. So So the first score of the game, TD pass, Kelly to McKellar, PAT good. And the score is now 7-0 for the Buffalo Bills. Oops, I can't change that one. That's the first quarter. It's in the second quarter. So it's now 7-0. And we don't have to worry about the kickoff return. So we'll just go back. And now Elway has the ball. And let's see if he can come back. He's trailing at home. He's going to score. He rolled a double one. So now we look at 63. 63 is a field goal. So then we go to David Treadwell's card. Here he is. So David Treadwell, we'll see what type of field goal he kicked. So here is the roll for the field goal. It is a 61. 61 is between 30 and 39. It's lower. So it's just barely over 59. So I'll call it a 31-yard field goal. Okay, so we got a field goal. My typing skills. Treadwell. And 31 yards. So the score is now 7-3 for the Buffalo Bills. So now Buffalo gets the ball. 2 more possessions for Buffalo in this half and 1 for Denver. We don't need that. So here is the roll for Jim Kelly. 16. He's going to score. Let's see what type of score. 56. It is a field goal. So Norwood successfully kicks a field goal. Yes, he did. We all only see that miss, but he did kick a lot of field goals in his day as well. So let's get his card and let's get the dice and see what his field goal, what's the distance on it. And it is a 84. 84 is pretty much halfway here, so it's a 45-yard field goal for Scott Norwood. Keep doing that. That's no good. So field goal, Norwood, 45 yards. And it's now 10-3 for Buffalo. And update the scoreboard. All the scoring in the second quarter. So now Denver has their last possession of the half. And here is the roll. 66. They turned the ball over. 44. It is a punt. So lucky for them, they had a punt. It's still 10-3. And now Buffalo has the final drive of the half. And here is their drive. 51. It is a turnover. 43. It is intercepted. So in this case, Denver will not have a possession, but they do have a chance at an interception return. And they rolled a 21, which is just over the 14, so they don't return it for a touchdown. Now we also have to determine who threw the interception. So we go back to this, go back to the quarterbacks. Okay, so we roll the interception roll. Here it is. It is a 40, so it was Jim Kelly throwing the pick. So we go INT Kelly. And that ends the first half. So at the end of the first half, the score is 1990 Buffalo 10 and 1989 Denver 3. Low scoring game. This other one at the half was 13-7. All the scoring took place in the second half, so perhaps that's going to happen here in this one as well. Now, Buffalo has the ball to begin the second half. Always the visiting team has the ball first, so that way the home team has the last possession of the game. That's the only real advantage I use. You can play with the home field advantage. I don't know if I mentioned this. I did mention in the other video, I'm sure. What it is, we don't play with this. We're just, neutral sites, even though I mentioned it's Mile House Stadium. We're not playing with the home field advantage. What the home field advantage is that the home team gets one re-roll per game. And it doesn't matter. You can use it on yourself or you can use it on the other team. If, let's say, you save it for the last drive and they score a touchdown, you can order a re-roll. So Buffalo would have to roll again. But that's a huge advantage. Huge home team advantage. But we don't use it in this tournament. We'll just pretend they're all Super Bowls where they're all neutral sites. So now for the second half, just make sure Paranoia comes in again. Yes, we're still recording. So here is the second half. Buffalo has the ball. And here's their first possession. 36. 36 is higher than 26, so it's a turnover. 1-1. It is a fumble. And Denver fumbled last time, and now Buffalo fumbles. And now the fumble return is... Roll is 53, so there's no touchdown on the fumble. But it is a fumble, and we don't roll to see who fumbled. We just leave it at that. So it's now 10-3. Now, Denver has an advantage. They have good field position. They have 11-41 roll now for a score. So golden opportunity for Denver to tie this ball game. Here is Denver's roll. I think it was a 62. I thought maybe I didn't see it. Well, we'll go with this one. 46. It is higher, so it's a turnover. Outcome 25. It is a punt. I should look at the dice to make sure that it did move, and I wasn't sure if it did. So I rolled again, the same outcome, so it's a punt. They do not take advantage of their good field position, and Buffalo gets the ball back with their second possession of the second half. Here is the roll for Denver. 13, they will score, and it's a 1-1, so it's a touchdown run. Who will score the touchdown? We go to the Buffalo Bills and go to the receivers, and we roll the dice. It is an 86, so it's not Thurman Thomas, it's not Kenneth Davis, it's not Jamie Mueller, it's Don Smith. Don Smith runs the ball into the end zone for a touchdown. And we're going to see... Okay, so the point after, this is huge, is 65, and their roll is 64-65, so the point after is no good. So we have a touchdown. That could come into play. We'll see. Touchdown run. I was so caught up in the point after that I forgot. It was Don Smith. Okay, Smith. And P-A-T, no good. So Norwood misses the point after and is now 16-3 for Buffalo. We'll see if that comes into play later on. But if it does, Denver's going to have to do a lot of work because they're behind by 13 points. And now they have the ball. We don't have to worry about kickoffs for either team. So we just go to the possession. And here is the roll for Denver. They need to get busy here. 26. They do get busy. They get a score. And it's a 12. 12 is a touchdown run. So we're going to see who scored the touchdown for Denver. We go to the running backs. I'm sure he's the first one, right? Yep. So Bobby Humphrey. And we're going to roll the dice to see who runs into the end zone. It is 65. It's not Bobby Humphrey. It's John Elway. Calls his own number and scores. Now we have to see if the point after is good. I always do that. I don't want to make it maximum because I guess I could. Doesn't matter. We'll make it maximum. That way I don't do that anymore. I just have all this wasted space here. But the point after is good. So we have a TD run. Elway. And the point after is, what do you mean no good? It's good. So it's now 16-10. That missed extra point could come into play here. 16-10. Last possession of the third quarter. And let's see what they roll. They roll 11. They're going to score. 45. 45 is a TD pass. So let's see who threw the pass first of all. Most likely it's Jim Kelly, but not necessarily. It is 28. So Jim Kelly does throw the TD. And now we go to the receivers. And who caught the ball in the end zone? It's thinking. 07. So it is Andre Reed. Andre Reed, and let's see if the point after is good. 23, so it is good. So it's Elway, or sorry, Jim Kelly to Andre Reed. So TD pass. So all the scoring happens in the second half. Kelly to Reed. PAT. Good. So now the score is 23-10. And that's the end of the third quarter. 23-10. Denver has 3 possessions in the fourth quarter. They're going to need to score a lot as they're behind by 13 points. They cannot afford any turnovers. So let's get the fourth quarter underway. Here is the roll for Denver. They roll a 52. That's a turnover. 15. It's a fumble. They fumble the ball on their opening possession of the fourth quarter. It's 23-10. That gives Buffalo excellent field possession or field position. So let's see what they can do with it. It's 11-36. 23. They're going to score. 51. It's another touchdown pass. They're blowing the game wide open right now. See who throws the touchdown pass. It is Jim Kelly. And who's he throw it to? '23. It's to Andre Reed again. Second time these two connected in this game. Third touchdown pass of the game for Jim Kelly. To Reed. And the point after is good. So the score is now 30-10 for Buffalo. I don't think they only have 2. They have, there's no way that Denver can win. That sealed the deal. But this is not curling. We don't shake hands and go home at the end of the 7th end. We play to the end. So Denver now is going to get the ball. And here's... Hit the wrong button. There's the button. I don't know if it moved again. So we'll try it again. 24. So they're going to score. 51. It's a touchdown pass. And the touchdown pass... It's Elway's first touchdown pass of the game, I believe. And it's 86, so it is right on the nose. Elway does throw the pass. And the receiver is 33, right on the nose again. There should be something special if they're both right on the nose. So it's Elway to Vance Johnson. The point after is good. It's too little too late, but looks good on the score sheet. Elway to Johnson. And the point after is good. It's not Reed. See, it's Johnson. Just making sure. So 30-17. All it does is make it more respectable. All right, so the point after was good. So we will now roll. This is Buffalo's last roll of the game. 66. It's a turnover. Oops, it was 66. It's a missed field goal. So this time Norwood misses the field goal. MFG. Doesn't matter anyway. Not as crucial as Super Bowl 26, was it? 25 or 26. Missed field goal. So it's still 30-17. And now Denver has their final. So they have add 10, 41. So here's the final roll. 16, they're going to score. 35, a field goal. See, this is the chance where we could go for it on fourth down and make it. But you know, we're behind by more than... And we forgot to do the score here. We're down by 13, so we can't go for it. It's a field goal. And we're going to see what kind of field goal it is for Treadwell. Treadwell's field goal is what distance? It is 11. 11 is a 19-yard field goal. So they get way down, but they stall. And so Treadwell, 19 yards. We'll just leave it. So the final score, 30-20. 30-20 for the 1990 Buffalo Bills over the 89 Denver Broncos. Buffalo is now 1-0 and Denver's 0-1. So that is the first game that I am able to broadcast in this project. Hope you enjoyed it. Tune in for all the other games that are coming up and we will let you go. So once again, the final score in Group A, the 1990 Buffalo Bills 30 and the 1989 Denver Broncos 20. This is King Ikibu coming to you live from Tuktoyaktuk. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.